These are the 10 best pinball machines from the 1970s. At number 10, we have Bobby Orr's Power Play by Bally. This game is all about the legendary Canadian Chicago Blackhawks superstar Bobby Orr, one of the greatest hockey players to ever play the game. And with the industry's bias towards Chicago, a Blackhawks player was a great fit for a pinball theme. This is a symmetrical game with a saucer on top, but it has some really nice orbit rollovers and some interesting bonus multiplier rules. Plus, 2 mini flippers on the left and right side keep things very interesting as far as what players want to do to take risks when shooting on this game. You would think with a center post that could be permanently raised, it would be easy, but it's actually quite difficult because of all the side-to-side action in the game. Overall, it's the great theme integration and the game really being on point that secures its spot in the top 10. At number 9, we have Dracula by Stern Electronics. This is a nice little 3-flipper game with a campy horror themed, designed by Harry Williams, the founder of Williams, for Stern Electronics. And it's got some nice geometry. Little spinner shot on the side, a little turnaround on the left. You get plenty of opportunities to get rebounds off the drop targets and a good pop bumper layout in the middle. There's nothing super standout about this game, but it's just a solid, fun time to play. At number 8, we have Future Spa by Bally. This is one of the widest games ever made, and boy does it feel like it. At the end of the 70s, Bally did a series of ultra-wide body games. This had never been tried before, but these games have some really interesting layouts. On Future Spa, you have your classic 3 pop bumpers in the middle, but also 2 more on the right side of the playfield. It's just so wide at the bottom that they needed to throw 4 in lanes and out lanes and kickbacks on the left side and 2 pop bumpers on the right, just to bring the 2 flippers in the middle of the game together. These giant slingshots at the bottom keep you on your toes as you have to really work to catch the ball and keep control of it. And there's some really interesting ways to drain all over this game. It's got some nice rules and a nice left orbit, a pretty horrible right orbit, but an inline 3-bank and a candy cane shot that make up for it. And it's a lot of fun to try to get the correct letter in the top lanes with some nudging of this gigantic, heavy game. At number 7, we have Paragon by Bally, another ultra-wide game. Paragon really shrinks things down at the bottom, bringing it to 3 flippers, but it has one of the most innovative and scary features on any pinball machine ever: the left out lane beast layer. This close quarters contained pop bumper creates some very interesting and unpredictable action, but it gives the player a skillful chance to save the ball. And that's the theme of Paragon. It's a really wide, weird, and wacky game, but it has skillful opportunities everywhere in trying to get the ball to the inline drop targets or back up to the top and preventing yourself from draining through the scissor flippers on the right. At number 6, we have Meteor by Stern Electronics. This is a license game based off a 1979 disaster sci-fi movie by the same name. The plot of the movie has the Americans and the Soviets put aside their differences to work together to launch 3 rockets to stop a meteor from annihilating the Earth. And you can see how that space theme and rocket launch make its way through the art and the playfield. But that's honestly not important. What really makes this game great is that it introduced an idea of using the software of a pinball machine to control the risk and reward aspect of gameplay. Completing the meteor targets at the top of the game increase your bonus multiplier. Pretty normal pinball rule, right? But while you have targets down, that increases the value of your spinner. So completing the targets sets your spinner value back to its minimum of 200 per spin. This forces players to be strategic with their upper flipper usage and decide if they want to push for more Meteor letters or just let the ball come down to the bottom of the playfield. It was extremely innovative for the time and makes this game still really fun to play today, especially in competition. At number 5, we have Flash by Williams. This is one of the most successful pinball machines ever made, with over 19,500 units produced. And there were tons of ripoffs produced by factories around the world that would easily put this at number 1. It's an eclectic theme. Not really sure what's going on, but boy is it fun to play. There's an upper flipper which gives you what's most likely one of the first loop shots in all of pinball. Plus, there's some great software for the time, with roving lit targets and a tone that increases in volume and intensity as you do better in the game. Pinball didn't really have background music in the 1970s, so this is the best it got. And boy, did it really set off waves in the pinball manufacturing world. This game was designed by Steve Ritchie and programmed by Eugene Jarvis. Two men I've actually worked for, despite the fact that this game came out when my parents were still in high school. At number 4, we have Playboy by Bally. Now, I'll admit, it's the artwork on this game that carries the rating. And I'm not just talking about the illustration of the Playboy models. This game pops. The primary color is this rich, vibrant pink, a color you really don't see too often on pinball machines. And for some reason, every time you find a copy of this game, it's in immaculately preserved shape. Just for some reason, people really want to keep this game looking good. The geometry on this game is not bad. It's got drop targets, it's got stand-up targets, it's got this nice orbit around the outside into this kicker on the top left. It's a bit repetitive by today's standards and a bit easy, but hey, it was a bold choice to go with Playboy as a theme, and it really epitomizes pinball in the 1970s and what it was all about. At number 3, we have Kiss by Bally, and this game actually plays music when you press the start button. Okay, so it's not the best rendition of I Wanna Rock and Roll All Night, but this game still rocks with amazing artwork, with Kiss and flames and lightning bolts and colossal lettering on the playfield. It's got 2 spinners on each side of the top lanes and great sounds when you hit it when it's lit, a good nudging feature at the top, and of course, drop targets on one side, stand-up targets on another side. It was a good formula in the 70s that just worked. What's really fun about this game is the bonus burn down you get at the end of your ball, especially when you're able to fill up the grid and bank your super bonus across multiple balls. At number 2, we have Harlem Globetrotters on Tour by Bally once again, featuring everyone's favorite exhibition basketball team, the Harlem Globetrotters. This is quite the playfield, a standard width pinball machine with 3 flippers at the bottom, which means that you can actually drain the ball between the left, upper, and lower flippers. This interesting layout has forced players to get very skillful when they play Harlem Globetrotters, often opting for something called a tap pass, where the player momentarily energizes the flipper just enough to pop the ball from the right flipper to the left flipper. But there are huge points in clearing the inline target bank, building up your bonus, and melting the left spinner when it's at its maximum 2,000 point value. You'll see this pinball machine in pretty much every Classics tournament because it's just an awesome test of skill. And the number 1 best pinball machine of the 1970s is Stars by Stern Electronics. This isn't the best looking game, this isn't the best sounding game, but there is no other game on this list that gives you that I'll just play one more game feeling like Stars. I truly believe this game is a masterpiece because it makes you appreciate the importance of every flip, every nudge, every ball rebound, and every switch that contributes to scoring. There are people who hate this game, and it's because they're only playing it in tournaments and they're always losing. It has some of the shortest ball times of any machine ever made, despite the fact that there's these huge slingshots and a center post to save the ball. But tell me, when you get your first 100,000 point roving special, that it doesn't feel good and that you don't want to play more Stars to see if you can do that on 2 or maybe even all 3 balls. Man, sometimes I sit here with my contemporary Stern pinball machines and think, I just wish I had a 45-second game on Stars versus a 25-minute average game on Godzilla. It just shows you so much so quickly that it makes you want to play more, and more. And it makes you want to compete on it, testing your strength among friends to see who can find the best strategy to score the most points and win. In my ranking system, it wasn't even close. Stars scored an 84 out of 100 possible points, while the runner-up Harlem Globetrotters only managed to get a 75. And that closes out our 1970s in pinball. The game of pinball is about to radically change, so you'll definitely want to subscribe to my channel and leave a like if you want to see more pinball videos like this one.